I have a passion for mountains and was at the bottom of a cliff and I was hit by a falling rock. He has hit me and I was projected in the air about 30 meters away.
He came to us with this design saying that, look, I am taking part in adaptive canoeing, but I can't use one arm. He needed some equipment that would help him to perform these activities.
Baby Ernest actually suffering plagiocephaly, so it means that the head is not symmetrical. Repositioning might not be able to help him anymore. So the next phase is helmet therapy to help them to round the head shape further.
I'm a prosthetist and orthotist. We call it P&O for short. So there's prosthetics, which is the part that people are more familiar with. So artificial limbs are replacing parts of the body that are missing. And the other part of it would be orthotics. So orthotics are what we commonly term braces and supports for the limbs and the spine. What I do in my job is to actually design and create these customized devices, so either artificial limbs or braces and splints for my patients. This is the part of the conventional process where we actually have to design and shape the socket or the brace that is going to go on the patient. So it starts off with us getting this mold of the patient. Like I've got a foot here, so this is going to be used to make a foot brace, and then it gets filled because it's hollow. And what we will do with that physical mold is to actually shape and sculpt it. What we are doing over here is to take that reference mold that we generated to design the prosthetic socket over to this room where our technicians would actually lay out different layers of materials such as fiberglass or carbon fiber to then create that prosthetic socket. So this is the final stage of the process where we're putting the whole prosthesis together before we supply it to the patient. And with 3D printing, we are potentially hoping to reduce the amount of time that's taken on this process and potentially up to half the amount of time savings that we get by converting this process to a more digital kind of format.
Let's go over to the outside first, this area. Take a seat. Alright. Yes, Ernest is here. Yes.
I think 2.5 months old at that point of time, then we observed that he has this flat head, which was actually quite obvious at that time. So I remember like I called you and then you told me to do some like more exercises, then I see a bit of improvement.
We call it repositioning, so that the flat side is not on the bed all the time. 95% of the patients here in the clinic are basically having some form of torticollis, which means that your neck is one side tighter than the other, or one side is weaker than the other. So that make the baby actually having a sleeping preference, sleeping on just one side of the head rather than equally spend the pressure on the head. And the other 5% unfortunate case that they probably have some medical background behind to cause them, sleeping on one side more than the other. The number that we capture right now, the long side is longer than the short side by 6.6 millimeter. And then the percentage difference is slightly less than 5%. It means that your left side of the head is bigger than your right side of the head by 5%. So a lot of parents would wonder, oh, so how bad is the situation right? Level 1 is actually considered as normal. Okay. Yeah, level 5 is actually considered as really, really bad. So if I put Ernest's number into it, you realize that he's actually considered as level 2 of the severity within the 5 scale. It will get better. Don't forget, the whole flat head situation is not static, it's quite dynamic. Baby Ernest actually suffering plagiocephaly. Repositioning might not be able to help him anymore. So the next phase is we will recommend helmet therapy to help them to round the head shape further until daddy mommy is satisfaction. If the helmet is involved, you probably just need about 2 to 3 months time. You will get your correction done nicely. So the purpose of having the baby helmet basically trying to take the opportunity to redirecting the growth of the head so that they can retain the better head shape. So it's as good as you have crooked teeth, you want to have a dental bracing to align the teeth.
Initially, I was a bit apprehensive about going ahead with this thing. I went back and thought about it a bit. Why not try something different?
So back in 2016, we had problems such as like a manpower crunch. And then there was the war on diabetes. We know that the chronic conditions requiring medical attention from us P&Os actually was on the rise. We started off by looking at how could we change our process of making and designing these braces. So that's where 3D printing came into play. In 2018, we actually rolled out 3D printed AFOs as part of our standardized, customized product lineup. We 3D print hand splint that we actually created for a patient with a spinal cord injury. The purpose of it was actually to help him with some of his personal hygiene functions. It is not feasible for us to make it with our conventional methods. For something that you would expect that adjustments need to be done quite frequently, it would not really be cost effective to make it from our conventional processes because everything is pretty much set in terms of design once it's made. And if it doesn't work, you just have to recreate the entire device, starting from taking that mold of the patient again. Whereas with 3D printing, I have the digital design file of all these products and all I need to do is to actually just go back to the printing stage. So Mr. Lam is a below-knee amputee. He is helping us out to give that feedback from the user's perspective, how they feel that the value of 3D printing and digital technology is for them. Today is the second follow-up visit for you after having tried out the 3D printed socket for about 2 weeks.
I'm very happy with the fitting and basically it's perfect fit.
Okay, that's very good to hear.
Normally it's like, if the height is slightly different, I will have a lot of back pain. This one, no. I don't even need the help of any Panadols or whatever. It's quite amazing.
Well, actually, after skiing in the border of China and Russia, I was infected with a muscle-eating virus. So I got to go for a cut. The hospital recommended that I come here and have my prosthesis done. The original one is 2014. Then after that was introduced to 3D printing. The fitting of the 3D is virtually perfect for me. But then the manual one, some places they are a little bit loose, some places are a little bit tight on the stump. So when you put on something whereby it is too tight, you get blister. Too loose, you also get blister. The 3D seems to eliminate that.
Okay, whenever you're ready. Yeah. And you feel that the weight is quite evenly distributed and everything, right? It's not like you're leaning too much to one side.
I would say it's quite even.
I noticed that for Maven, he had a flat spot on his left, and that was about 3 months old. And I tried a lot of things such as more tummy time, and also letting him sleep on the other side. But I realized that the flat spot just kept getting worse.
I first met baby Melvin 2 months ago. We were just all shocked. Right away, he was diagnosed as actually more severe plagiocephaly. Hello, Melvin. Good to see you again. How are you doing?
Good.
Good, yes. how many hours have you been wearing for the past 1 month?
23 hours.
23 hours.
So
I trust you.
Slowly take out during the bathing.
So just looking at the number itself, you started about 8.5% different, and this month you are actually at 6.8%. So it's actually a very amazing results over the last few months.
Thankfully, he adapted to the helmet very fast. He rolls around with it. I totally love seeing him with the helmet. It's like him with his extra protection.
Number that I see today, right, from grade 2 to grade 1, grade 1 to be discharged, I think we just need another 1 month time.
Oh, that's
so
great.
Not too far.
Thank you. I didn't know much about 3D printing before. At first I was like, wow, is it even possible? Will it be as accurate as the normal helmet? I'm very impressed with the technology.
Years ago, I was still using plaster of Paris bandage, and then I put the muddy plaster of Paris bandage on baby head. Mom is crying, baby is crying, I'm rushing. We have no way to avoid errors going on if you are not experienced. The scanner is actually very bulky, but it worked perfectly for the clinic because we have patients running in and out and all come in to see me for scanning. Usually when the baby first come to my clinic, we're trying to take the scan, and we have the fabrication actually done in the overseas. We have the lead time issue or logistic issue that may make the delivery of the helmets a bit longer than you need. During COVID-19, I think we feel even more stronger that a lot of babies, they may not able to come to our place because of the traffic restrictions.
I'll give you a demonstration on how to navigate the app, and you can use the app to scan the baby at the home environment.
We envision the new process is very different from the old ones. The patient might not even need to come to our clinic for making the helmet. So the iPhone would have the true depth camera with the facial recognition, the technology to obtain the 3D images. You can imagine like the mommy scanning the baby at home, and through the software, we will use an AI technology to process it and produce a suitable helmet printing file.
So this is the first quadrant, which is front left, front right, back left, back right. When you press the scan, you'll be directed here. Yeah, the mirror, yeah. Clip it on.
We do able to print it in every part of the work and send this helmet to the necessary patients without them coming through our clinic.
Years ago, I was in Switzerland. I have a passion for mountains and was at the bottom of a cliff, and I was hit by a falling rock. He has hit me and I was projected in the air about 30 meters away. So I lost consciousness and I wake up 4 days after. The doctors explained me, oh, the nerves have been badly damaged. It will be quite tough to recover. I joined the Singapore Paddle Club 1 year ago. So it's called Outrigger Canoe. It's a 6er canoe and we go in the Southern Islands. Yeah, it's a 2-hour session, something like that. I was using a device supplied by a US supplier, which is adapted to the life jacket. So really simple device. Until now, I had really a basic solution with no molding the shoulder, and it's not very efficient. So the movement is not that good and it doesn't fit the shoulder. I'm able to enjoy the sport, but it's not efficient. So I paddle with only one arm. and cannot transmit the power in the water. I was looking for a device that could help me paddle with a good fit on the shoulder.
He came to us with this design saying that, look, I am taking part in adaptive canoeing, but I can't use one arm. He needed some equipment that would help him to perform these activities. My first reaction was that I think this is a really good opportunity to show where digital design and 3D printing can come in. Because if we had just gone off our current manufacturing process, we would just have taken a cast of his shoulder, we got the shape, and then in some almost arbitrary manner just said, okay, look, this is where the pedal needs to go, the attachment point needs to be here, and then, let's just try it out. The Chill Lab is this makerspace. It's housed in the Centre for Healthcare Innovation, or CHI for short. They consist of a project team in which our Tanong staff can go to and approach them for any sort of like innovation kind of projects, and they will gladly give their input. They do offer insights into 3D printing in terms of the types of materials and maybe even the design of the products that we can make for the patients. Julian, who is a patient who's come to us with this request, he's quite a sporty guy, right? So he's got a brachial plexus injury, which means that his whole right arm, there's no strength, it doesn't really function. So when he's doing his kayaking activities, what's going to happen is that he's going to have to attach his right arm in a sling. Wilson approaches it from the engineering perspective, whereas as the clinician, we tend to approach it from a more human perspective. And when you come together and marry these two, then I think that's when you can really leverage on technology to provide something that is tailored to the needs of the patient. So we need an attachment point to attach the pedal to his shoulder. Right now, it's not customized. What we have here is one of the original prototypes and designs that we were tinkering with for Juliet. The advantage of 3D printing and the beauty of it is that it really gives you the possibility to design very complex and varying shapes that increase the thickness of the material and cut out holes and look at a more minimalistic design than what is possible with our conventional methods when we work with materials like plastics and fiberglass layups. As in the patient can give us feedback about the device design, and then we can go and tweak that digital design file to continually improve it. I would say we are one of the pioneers in terms of coming up with those bench testing protocols and quality assurance protocols to make sure that whatever we design is safe for use on patients. So this saddle is 3D printed using a powder bed technique, and it's made from nylon. So I think one of the features that we were looking out for is that it had to be water resistant, it's going to go into water. So we had to look at material properties that would allow it to withstand the repeated cycles of getting wet and dried. So with the printing technique that we use for the test pieces, it would take about half a day to print each piece. Julian came to us about half a year ago with this request, and we have been through a number of iterations of the prototypes before finally getting him to this stage where we are ready to deliver the setup.
So you can see how sharp is that on the right side at the beginning, and today you look at it, right, the whole contour look a lot more acceptable. Not just the back, but the front as well. So you can see the forehead is also more symmetrical that way. That's true enough to tell me, like he has been going in the right direction. Happy for you.
That's great.
Yeah. He is a big baby, very fast growth spurt for the last 4 weeks. So you can easily see that the head is basically growing only in the right direction in a super rapid speed. He definitely is the typical success story. At the end of the day, the technology, the device is actually helping the child to get better, but without their compliance, the result would not take place. I feel very happy when I see the good results come out. But you see a happy face when the parents are seeing that the child head is getting rounder. That is something that keeps us moving every day.
So now I'm going to Tan Tock Seng Hospital, so the Foot and Limb Center, to collect my final piece of shoulder saddle. And really excited about that. So at each movement there was a sound. It was doing clack, 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 and really noisy. So, and it was not moving easily.
Okay.
So it was, that element, that block was blocking the movement.
Okay, yeah. I believe this one would be eliminate that for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll put this new one for you.
yeah. Okay. That's the first time that I'll put that on. So let's see how it works.
And when you see this idea that you had in your mind finally being translated into a concrete form, and the patient's satisfied, you're satisfied, then you really get that sense of fulfillment to know that this is something that you have created and conceptualized from start to end. Viewing 3D printing as an enabler instead of the solution, I think that's a mindset change that we have to make in order to realize that the potential of the technology. So it's really expanding our horizons and expanding the accessibility of care and possibilities for our patients.